Today I'm going to show you 4 methods you can use to get clients on LinkedIn using cold outreach step by step. If you're not aware, LinkedIn is a gold mine for doing cold outreach and finding leads. So if you have your SaaS business, service-based business, or an agency, it's a channel you quite literally cannot afford to ignore. So by the end of this video, you will have 4 proven cold outreach methods and a framework to create offers inside that cold outreach that you can quite literally just use to get clients on LinkedIn and grow your business sustainably and reliably as soon as of today. Now, this first method is something that everybody quite literally overlooks, but it is a great way to actually find your proper leads. And it is to actually find and join niche-specific LinkedIn groups. Now, LinkedIn groups are filled with industry professionals and people who are actively discussing topics that you help solve, and it's an active discussion around these topics. So it's a great source of potential people who are already interested in the subject that you or your product are addressing. Now, not every single group is going to be a perfect fit for you. So you really want to make sure that you're going after those niche-specific groups and try to filter them out as much as possible. This will actually help you make sure that you're targeting proper people that are already discussing very niche subjects that you, your service, your products are actually addressing. So as an example, groups such as SaaS founders are not going to be as niche as groups that says, for example, bootstrapped SaaS founders. So you really want to go into a bit more niche audience to actually make sure that all of the leads that are there, all of the people who are engaging are actually a proper fit for you or your business. Now, LinkedIn groups are typically a better way to find leads than simply messaging strangers, simply because these are already pre-qualified leads for you. So you know that people who are already in those groups have been actively and proactively looking for solutions to their problems within that industry or niche. And it's not just a bunch of people who are active on LinkedIn, it's actually targeted towards your own industry or a niche. Now, the reason that people typically tend to stay away from LinkedIn groups is because if not leveraged properly, they're actually quite a waste of time. So if you're just lurking on the backgrounds, looking at what people are posting, not really engaging, you're really missing out on the power of LinkedIn groups. The idea here is really to be active participant in those discussions, in those groups. Now, typically in groups, you already can spot people who are active, who are posting, and it kind of makes you remember those names. So if you're actually an active contributor in those groups where you're posting content, when you're sharing valuable insights, likelihood of you being remembered is much higher when you're just posting in general on LinkedIn, simply because we have so many professionals on LinkedIn posting that likelihood of you actually standing out is quite low. Now, you can actually quite easily find LinkedIn groups that actually fit your industry using keywords. So if you go on LinkedIn and you type in bootstrapped startups, using the word bootstrapped is going to be a key for you. So what you would typically see in groups, you have those people who are just posting and disappearing. This is not what you want to do. So you actually want to be a regular member of a group, sharing value, commenting on other people's posts, sharing insights, being actually there to bring some value is going to make a difference compared to you just spamming people with a bunch of self-promotional posts. Okay, so it's one thing to actually be a member of a group, but it's another thing to actually get clients from it, right? So what you actually want to do is find those people who are actively engaging and actually reach out to them. So connect with them on LinkedIn, send them a message, and then there are tools as well that can actually help you scrape all of the members of those groups. So you can do this automatically and actually connect with them on LinkedIn, send them messages, and then that way maybe a bit scale this outreach as you plan to do in the first place. Now, before we do that, let's go into another method that you can actually use for getting clients on LinkedIn. And we're going to talk about maybe a bit even lower effort than using the LinkedIn groups, which is actually leveraging your own network. So if you think about your own network on LinkedIn, your chances are you have a bunch of connections that are just sitting there. They're a perfect ICP for you, but you have not really connected with, started a conversation, and they're not probably even aware what you do or what your product does. So let's tap into your network first. The idea here is when you're reaching out to your own network is not to go straight ahead with your own pitch. So you actually want to kick off the conversation. Hey, just wanted to reconnect. I remember we worked together in this company. Find the reason why you were connected with them in the first place and start reaching out. Or just simply say like, we've been connected for quite a long time. Haven't had a chance to speak yet, but would love to stay in touch and see what you're currently working on and reconnect whenever you have a chance, for example. Start off a conversation. The goal is just to get a reply, to get the conversation started, and then obviously afterwards, when the conversation starts and you're asking questions, you're going to be able to actually deliver your pitch to this person. The number one mistake that people typically make with their LinkedIn network is actually not expanding it enough. So yes, you do have your own first degree connections on LinkedIn, but then there are options that where LinkedIn will actually propose to you people that you might know. Use these features to actually expand your network a bit, and then make sure that you're actively engaging with them so that these people are not just sitting in your network without actually being contacted by you at any point. Now, one thing that will definitely ruin your chances, or at least decrease the chances of you having a successful outreach on LinkedIn, is not having a properly optimized LinkedIn profile. Meaning that your profile picture should be very clear, professional, with clear background, that your headline also showcases who you are and what you do, what makes you different from all the other people on LinkedIn, and it serves as kind of your landing page. So you really want to make sure that whatever you're showcasing on your LinkedIn profile is actually presenting you in a way that you really want to make sure your leads actually, when they see your profile, this is what they want to take out of it. Now the mistake here is that typically people would go a bit broad. So like, you don't want to go with the sales executive at company name. You actually want to make sure that you're being niched in your headline, for example, as a way to separate yourself. So saying that you're a 2 times head of sales that helped bootstrap 3 companies from 1 to 10 million in ARR, it's not the same as just saying like VP of sales as company names. Find this thing that makes you a bit different to actually push yourself forward in a proper way. Now, asking for referrals can actually be a very, very good way to get leads. However, there is a way to do it. So you want to make sure that you're making it as easy as possible for that person to actually make a referral or an intro. This means that instead of you asking them to do their research on their own, which is why they would connect you in the first place, you're already giving them information upfront. Make it as easy as possible for them, and as long as you present yourself from the position where you actually want to help out that person that they would be making an intro to, you're making their job very easy. Okay, now let's take a look at one of the best ways for you to actually get clients on LinkedIn, and it's what 1% of the top performing businesses that are getting their leads from LinkedIn are doing today, which is actively posting and commenting on LinkedIn. Now, there is a very fine line between cold pitching and providing value on LinkedIn. To know the difference, you want to be in a position where you know that whatever you send to this person, if they don't even reply, what you send to them can actually provide some value for them. Whatever it is, you really want to be focused on solving their problems, their challenges, highlighting them, and then addressing them, instead of you just coming in with your set of features, set of products, presenting yourself who you are. That doesn't work. Now, you will probably see on LinkedIn a bunch of LinkedIn posts that are going viral. They're design-wise nice looking, and you would be thinking that this is the way to go when you were looking to attract clients. Viral posts, don't get me wrong, are a great thing, because obviously your brand gets exposed, you get this brand awareness, and obviously you're connecting with a bunch more people than you would with a normal regular post. However, typically the posts that are converting best and are actually the one getting you clients are the ones that are specifically niche to the problem that your product is solving. If you even have a post that doesn't have a lot of engagement, but it's actually providing a great value to the customer that you actually want to close, that post is likely going to perform better than something that is quite broad and generic. Now, a lot of posts on LinkedIn flop for a reason of them really being too generic, too broad, and something that you can see on most of the people's profiles. So the idea here really is to bring a unique perspective and then format it in a way that actually catches the attention. So the key thing here is how the post also looks like. Don't go with a bunch of text. It's not a novel, it's a LinkedIn post. It should be brief. Think of it as a 5-year-old will be able to read it and understand what it means. A great way to actually turn your posts into conversations is to have a proper call to action at the end of the post. So if it's a post that is delivering some kind of value or is asking a specific question, you want to have a CTA at the end where you're actually asking for their feedback, their thoughts, have they found it valuable, what are their thoughts on the subject, and then whoever engages actually with that post with a comment or something like that, you can actually use that engagement as a way to reach out. Great LinkedIn posts will always have 3 components to it. So first component will be the hook. So the first line that you create within your post, and that hook should be the one catching the attention, grabbing the attention, and getting the people to actually read the rest of your post. So it should be a bit provocative, bold statement, something that really catches the attention. The second component is the body itself. So you want to make sure that visually the post is easy to read, easily scannable by the eye. So you don't want to have a bunch of text in the post, but actually like proper segmentation, make it sharp, clear, remove any fluffy words, and just keep it straightforward. And then the third component is the CTA, so like the call to action at the end of the post, where you have a conclusion of the post and asking them to make an action, whether it is, what are your thoughts on this? If you liked it, let me know. Get them to make an action afterwards as well. Now, everything up until this point have been all very effective strategies. but you're probably thinking right now, okay, great, but how do I scale this? How do I manage this? I don't have time for this. Unless you have a full day available to you to sit down and do cold outreach, you're actually going to be looking at automating this to actually make sure that this is running consistently without you actually putting too much effort into it. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using HeyReach in this case. So we're going to go and connect a couple of our LinkedIn accounts that we're using. In this case, as you can see, I have actually 7 people that I'm leveraging for my LinkedIn outreach. The reason for that is because LinkedIn is limiting us in amount of actions that you can take per day. So with one LinkedIn profile, you're able to send 25 connection requests and 40 messages per day only. This means that if you actually want to scale this outreach, you are not going to be able to pass those limitations, but you're going to be able to use multiple LinkedIn profiles. So that's why I have in this platform right here 7 different profiles. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to kick off a campaign. So let's say that right now I'm going to use an example of a campaign when I'm reaching out to people who have liked my post in the first place or commented on my post. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say like engaged with my post, the name of the campaign, and I'm gonna select those leads that have engaged with those posts. Now you can actually scrape these people from LinkedIn. So I have pre-uploaded them previously to HeyReach, and these are gonna be my leads here. So I'm just gonna say these are the ones that have engaged, and I'm gonna go to the next step. Now, as I've mentioned, I have 7 accounts connected to HeyReach. So what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna select that all these 7 of my accounts are gonna be reaching out to that lead list. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the next step and say, my first step would be, I'm not sure if I'm already connected with a bunch of these people who have engaged with my post. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to say, if I'm already connected with somebody, I'm just going to send them a message. And then this message could be something along these lines. Hey, first name, glad you've resonated with my post. Very curious. Is this something you're seeing also on your end? So let's say this is a post where I've shared a new industry change that has been affecting my results in the sales space, for example. So this message that I'm following up with would actually be to those people who have engaged with that post, meaning that they already are seeing a similar thing or are actually learning from it. Second example would be, for example, let's say you've shared a post where you've shared the valuable content such as an ebook or a video that they could watch, etc. So what I can actually say is, I'm glad you wanted to take a look at the ebook I've shared. Any chance you've had a time to take a look at it? How did you find it? As you can see, it's a very, very conversational approach. Like, the idea here is not for me to go, hey, glad you downloaded my ebook. Now here is what I'm gonna pitch you. The idea with LinkedIn is really to start off with a question that sparks a conversation. And I would have a fallback message in case I cannot pull up the custom variables. So I would say, hey, glad you wanted to take a look at the ebook that I've shared, etc. Now, what will happen is that if they didn't reply to my message here, I actually want to follow up and say, oh, by the way, one of the things that might be interesting to you is how, then I could put like a brand logo that is a customer of ours, for example, Agency Boosted has used this workflow for their clients, actually seeing quite good results with 37% reply rate on LinkedIn. Happy to share that too if you're interested. The trick here, as you can see, is actually we're just moving on with the conversation like we would have if we were doing this manually. So we're going to save this message as well. And then what we would do here is that in case that I'm not connected with somebody on LinkedIn initially, I would have first send the connection request. And then after that, I would wait a couple of days. So in this case, I would wait 5 days. If they don't still accept, I might like their post as a gentle nudge, obviously, to follow up with them. Now, in case that they have accepted, then I would simply send out the same message that I have sent to those people that I'm already connected with. So this way you basically just automate the outreach, you put it like on launch, and all of these messages are going out, these leads are flowing in. Every time that you have people commenting on your post or liking the post, you're going to be automatically reaching out to them. You forget about this campaign in the first place and you just handle the replies that are going to be coming into your inbox, and you can just be managing the responses from there on. Now, earlier I promised that I'm going to get you a framework that will help you get clients, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So we're going to talk about a framework or a messaging around the offer that you can actually include in your outreach outreach messages so that it makes it super easy for clients to say yes to it, and it's called a low risk offer. Low risk offer is something that you give to them without any risk on their side, such as investing into your product, purchasing the product and purchasing the service, but something where they will be basically getting some value out of you without actually making an investment or a risk on their side. So this could actually look like, for example, I'm going to set up your workspace on our platform and get you 100 leads that you can test out, and if you actually like it, then we can continue conversation further. So you're doing this for free, you're offering something without actually asking anything in return except from actually them checking it out. This makes it super easy for them to say yes because they're getting value and they're not investing anything on their side. What clients actually want when you're pitching to them is to make their job as easy as possible. So you don't want to put your potential client in a position where they need to do the research, they need to figure out why you would be a perfect fit for them, to understand where and how you might fit into their entire process, but they actually want you to educate them on the pain that they might be having, how you solve them, why you and not somebody else, and for you to build this trust with them so that they actually know that you're not going to be scamming them, you're not just one of the people who are just going to pitch them the service, charge them and then disappear. Free trials always convert better than the paid offers simply because of the fact that you're removing the risk from their side. So if your product is requiring them to immediately pay without actually them knowing if it's going to work, it's a huge investment that can actually potentially go wrong on their side of things. So you want to actually make sure that they're able to test out what you're offering without them investing too much. One of the mistakes that I see with offering a free trial is that it puts you in a position where your free trial is appeared to be not worthy as much. Now, the idea is actually to focus on the results that you can bring to them. Instead of offering this for free, you can say like, hey, I'm actually ready to show you an example of how I've done this for a client, how it performed and what were the results. And I'm happy to run this test period with you as well to kind of show you how that would look like. This is what you could expect. And then if you're committed to it, we can actually take things forward. Now, the second way is to actually use the social proof. So if you already have customers that are in their industry that they would likely know about, you can actually say like, you probably know about X client. This is something that we've done for them. I personally like helped them on board last week and they got increase of 10% in their reply rates. I do think that this is something we can do for you as well. Would you be open to test it out for 10 days in the following weeks? Turning a no into a yes, it's also a question of how you do that in the personal life. LinkedIn is just one more channel of a communication. So it's just about like, how do you communicate properly with people, and in this case, leads on LinkedIn. So to turn a no into a yes, the first step would actually be to acknowledge and validate their concerns. So instead of you trying to objection handle right away, accept and validate their concerns. So you could say something like, yes, completely understand. I actually get where you're coming from. This is what I'm also thinking might be the concern for you. And it's completely valid point. We did see that this company was also struggling with the same concerns. However, this is how they were able to still do it. So like validate, accept, confirm, and then give another point of view of why that still might be a good way to go in a way that you're approaching these leads. Now, another tactic is to actually just pivot from the situation, meaning that yes, there might not be a right time for them to talk to you about right now, but you still want to keep them a bit interested or maybe even change their mind. To do that, you're going to be delivering value upfront. So this means that if they said, no, I'm not interested right now to have a call, you can actually say like, fair enough, completely understand, maybe the timing is not right. I would love to stay in touch. And in the meantime, I'm giving you an example of how that could actually look like for you. So here's a list of leads that you can actually leverage for your own outreach. What you're doing here is you're kind of already giving them something. You're already teasing them. They can see the value of what you're bringing, but you're not asking anything whatsoever. You're validating that they're not interested at this moment, which if the offer that you brought to them is good enough, they might actually become again interested. Now, just a few minutes ago, I've shown you HeyReach, as sending messages at scale is absolutely essential as you're looking to achieve things on LinkedIn. The more messages that you send, the more people that you get in front of, the likelihood of you getting results increases and the more clients you're going to be able to sign. But you might not be aware of the scale of how many DMs you can actually send on LinkedIn. Because when you think about using the account rotation feature, and depending on how many people you have in your company or how many LinkedIn accounts you have at your disposal, the scale can actually become insane. You can easily send hundreds of messages every single day and get in front of the 100 customers every single day on LinkedIn. And spoiler alert, people actually do. So click here to check out the video where we share everything that we have learned by sending thousands of LinkedIn messages. Take those insights. The only way that you would be able to get them is by actually sending that many DMs. Learn from our experience and apply them to your own business to start getting leads as of today. See you there.